we're going to present in the EUTOPIA, in the framework of the EUTOPIA week. This is the third day, and I welcome also the people online that are watching us. And now I'm going to leave the floor to Miriam Bertoli, our expert on digital readiness, let's say like this. And I'm going to leave the floor to Miriam. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's try this multi-dimensional speech, so online and here at Ca' Foscari. Great, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miriam Bertoli, and I'm a digital and content marketing consultant. What can I say? First of all, I'm really happy to be here. I was a Ca' Foscari student many years ago, so it's always such a great pleasure and emotion to be here, and to be here in this incredible building, in the main building, in this Aula Baratto, where I attended my first lessons a long, long time ago. But today, I'm here for you and for those of you that are attending the webinar online. And our topic today is digital readiness. So I want to bring you some tools and a vision on how digital is reshaping the world of work and skills and many different things. So this is me. And yes, I really love to share my experience and the results I bring into projects, consultancy projects mainly. And I like teaching, so I teach in master programs and universities, in universities and business schools. So let's start from here. You are digital natives, right? Okay, so you know that digital is definitely everywhere, okay? Former Google CEO once said that digital, it was some years ago, it's like electricity. So internet and internet connections are like electricity. And even if we are not aware if electricity is on or off, it's something normal in our lives. Digital, it's the same, and more, it was definitely right. Because today, digital is definitely in our lives, shapes how we get in touch with people, how we work, how we share experiences. I'm pretty sure that everyone is here today. Probably you have booked online a flight or a train, or you have checked Google Maps in order to get lost. Usually in Venice, that's what happens. You can get lost, but with Google Maps help. And then, yes, it's reshaping definitely how we work and the world of work. Something connected with artificial intelligence, but that will be the second part. One question before. Do you use Nano Banana Pro? Okay, what is it? It's a model for image creation. It's from Google, it's part of the Google suite, and it's wow, okay? I'm not the kind of person that gets like crazy with technology, but definitely when you start using this model, that is pretty new, you will see the exact power of generative artificial intelligence and how they are really, really, really exceeding all the expectations possible. But then we will come back to this topic in the second part. So for today, what I want to bring you is, first of all, a scenario, the digital landscape, not too many data, but some data, yes, and then a very hands-on approach. So 2 tools. The first one is LinkedIn, and the second one is generative artificial intelligence and how to write a good prompt, okay? But do you know who this sir is? know. If not, follow him on LinkedIn, it's okay. He's a British-Italian philosopher and professor, Luciano Floridi. Back in 2015, with a group of, multidisciplinary group of other professors, they wrote and published the On Life Manifesto. So it's a manifesto. You can download it for free online. You can buy it, but it's available for free. And what's the point here? Being human in a hyper-connected era. What Floridi and the other professors explain and debate on the manifesto, it's that ICT, we are not talking about tools alone. We are talking about tools and a deep impact on what? On society, on our self-conception, so who we are. Raise your hand if when you are on holiday, for example, and you take a picture or a selfie, then you say, okay, this is part of what I want to represent, what I want to share on social media. Okay? Do you ever take pictures? Okay? Thinking about how does this define who I am, what I want to show to my network of friends and more. So how we socialize, digital, it's not just tools, it's not just something that we use. It's changing definitely several different aspects of our lives. How we interact with reality. And 3 years ago, so it's 3 years ago, okay, OpenAI launched ChatGPT. On that day, in November, in 5 days, they reached 1 million users. Okay, in 5 days, 1 million users. And that day represented an incredible speed in digitalization, technology, and the impact of what technology can do for us at work and in many other areas. Everything changed after that day. And raise your hands if you use at least one tool of artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence. Okay, it's like 80%, yeah, probably 90%. Raise your hand if you use ChatGPT. Okay, others, other tools. Gemini, okay. Notebook LM, who said notebook? Okay, great for studying, right? Microsoft Copilot, right? That's inside Microsoft, let's say, productivity platform.
There's the new Google AI as well. When you ask something to Google, the AI.
Yeah, that's Gemini. Behind it, there's Gemini, usually in English, yes. And great point, because it's exactly, today we need to open ChatGPT, open something that is partly new in our interactions, but more and more we will use generative artificial intelligence directly on the platforms that we normally use. Anyway, after that day, there was like a race, and all the main .coms started developing things, launching startups, and on and on and on and on. And we are there. So what are the impacts on the world of work, right? This chart here, it's from the World Economic Forum. Every year they publish the Future of Jobs report that I invite you to download, because there are a lot of very interesting insights on how work is changing. What do we see here? First, the situation today, right? So we have like half of the tasks that are delivered by people. It's 47%, people alone. Then 30%, it's a combination of human beings and technology. 22%, it's technology alone. So machines doing things. What does this report show? By 2030, what the World Economic Forum says is we will have an incredible shift. Why? Because 34% of the tasks will be performed by technology alone. 33 will be performed by machines plus human beings, okay? If you search out there, you will find many different reports with slightly different percentages or very different percentages. The point here is we are in the middle of a huge, huge, huge change and shift. And what happens? Companies use artificial intelligence. So for those of you that are starting job interviews, for example, they're starting with job interviews, probably one of the questions or one of the abilities, skills, tasks that recruiters check is, do you know how to use generative artificial intelligence? Yes, no. So it's part of your toolkit more and more. And how do companies use it? This is a LinkedIn report, so it's from LinkedIn, different source. The title is AI at Work. What we see here is companies from different sizes. The top three ways in which generative AI is being used by businesses is increasing innovation and creativity, automating repetitive tasks. Okay, so for those of you that are in, let's say, areas of future works that start with repetitive tasks, in marketing, my field, usually, during the first 1 or 2 years, new team members do repetitive tasks, okay? Something that is easy, it's good to start from. That is part of the automation scenario. And then simplifying processes at work. So, the question is, what about us? What can we do? That bridge does not exist, by the way, okay? And here we could open a huge discussion on what is true, what is truth, probably, what is real, what is not, and so on. So get ready for a very messy future. Okay, so the question is, how does it impact our future careers? How does it impact your future career? And I don't have magic formulas here. I don't have, let's say, something that will like snap your fingers, and if you do 1, 2, 3, it's okay. But I definitely have a vision. The only way for all of us to have a successful and fulfilling career from now on is to explore, always explore what's around you. So if we ever had an era of, I just want to stay in my comfort zone, that's finished, okay? So explore and see what's beside what you study, for example. Learn. Learn means learn something that is not exactly in your university list of exams or topics, but it's something that you need to know in order to be in that, let's say, world of work, where technology is more and more our colleague, or how Microsoft calls it, co-pilot, okay? And last but not least, augment. Augment means use technology in order to improve your skills, improve what you can do, improve how you can learn, okay? So that's the mindset. With these 3 keywords, I think we can all navigate the shift. If one of the 3 is missing, it's tough. It depends. Some areas, some business areas are more impacted quickly. Marketing and customer service is one of these. Others will be slower. The change will be slower, but definitely this is the point. And for you today, I've prepared a different, let's say, 2 points, 2 different approaches. The one with LinkedIn that is inside out. So how can you use LinkedIn, in this case, in order to have more chances to find the job that you want for your future, or build your own business? Who wants to be an entrepreneur, for example? Okay, maybe, right? Who has no clue at all? No idea of what to do? Depends. Probably yes, probably no. Okay, it's not easy. It's not always easy. So the first part is inside out. So how to use LinkedIn in order to have a network that will help you find the right job opportunities or internships. On the other side is the outside in. So how generative artificial intelligence can help you have an augmented set of skills. Let's start with the LinkedIn profile. First question, who's on LinkedIn? Okay, who does open the LinkedIn app, let's say, once a week? Okay, once a day? Okay, for those of you that are not using LinkedIn, download the app and start today. LinkedIn, it's not the only place where to start building your network before you need a network, but it's definitely the platform for professional networking. 1 billion members, okay, around the world, in more than 2 countries. And talking about LinkedIn, the first question is why you should use it. The main reason is because HR professionals, recruiters, companies use LinkedIn in order to find talents, okay? Before LinkedIn, there is the main way of finding job opportunities, that is networking, word of mouth, okay? So again, build your network before you need it, okay? And LinkedIn helps you be discoverable. So if you're there, basically, what you know, what you do, your career path, your studies, project works, pop and become public, okay? If not, you can have a wonderful project work, the best certifications, but if no one knows it, it's like, how can they become value if you search for an internship opportunity, for example, right? Then, it's a great place to build your credibility. How? Sharing content. Sharing what you learn, sharing your point of view, for example, on a news or a new research on your fields of studies. And then, again, build connections. For example, connect with people who already do the job or the internship that you're interested in, right? So that's a huge speed up of the process, and it's networking. Basically, LinkedIn, it's a place for your personal branding, okay? What this man, Jeff Bezos, that happened to marry just behind where we live a few months ago, they said, what's your personal brand? It's what they say about you when you're not in the room. Okay? And LinkedIn is one of the main places, talking about professional relationships, where you can start and build your personal brand. For a successful usage of LinkedIn, the other part is define your audience. For those of you that are using LinkedIn, do you publish content regularly or do you more read? Publish? Okay, read or view videos or whatever. Okay. So, definitely there's a value in using LinkedIn for updates, news, seeing what happens to colleagues, classmates and course mates and so on. But if you want to use it as a personal branding tool, definitely you need to start producing content, publishing posts mainly. So the first question is, who are you speaking to? Okay. Are you speaking to course mates, lecturers, HR professionals? If you want to reach HR professionals, who influences their choices when they go there, go on LinkedIn and search for a new resource for their teams, for example? And how can you connect with them? And then again, what are your goals? So how can LinkedIn help you reach your goals? Do you want to find an internship opportunity? Do you want to learn what's important for that kind of position? Do you want to know what are the main trends? Or do you want to use LinkedIn in order to check what are the skills that usually HRs look for that specific job title or job role? Okay? So focus on how LinkedIn can help you in your studies and career path before starting to publish content. Focus on why am I using this platform? Where's the value for me? And then let's go deeper into 2 things that improve your profile on LinkedIn. If you search, for example, my search here is marketing manager. Let's say I'm an HR and I want to find someone for my team. What we see as a result, it's mainly a profile picture, so an image, a photo, name and last name, and a headline, and then the connections, right? So the small images that you see after each result. Name and last name, we can't do a lot there. Connections means build your network, again. And I will show you, I will give you some tips on how you can improve your profile picture and your headline. So let's start from the profile picture. So profile picture and headline. By the way, if you use LinkedIn, what you will see is that, let's see if this one works, no. They are integrating AI a lot. So enhance your cover image opens an AI assistant that enhances the cover image, okay? So what I was telling you before, more and more you will find artificial intelligence tools inside the platforms that you use every day. So the profile photo, why is it so important? Well, first of all, because it's one of the first things that we see when we search on LinkedIn, and you know that there's never a second chance to give a first impression, okay? And we look at the picture, and in a few seconds, less than a few seconds, we decide if we click or not on that profile. And we are more and more a visual society, right? So we define what we like and what we don't like. If you use Twitter? Oh, I'm sorry, do you use TikTok? No? 0, 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, okay. It's visual, visual, visual. Yes, that's sound, definitely. But images and videos, just in low friction, high density of messages. That's why, first of all, check your LinkedIn profile picture. Why? Because there you can see, you can share your identity and your positioning, right? Identity means you are communicating who you are, how you present yourself, and what you want to convey. Okay, in a few seconds, a lot of messages. And then your positioning. Is there something that it's distinctive? So why you? Okay, that picture says, if I'm a very important international bank, very formal place, okay, everyone is super elegant at work, your profile picture will resonate with that kind of positioning or not, depending on how you communicate, and if you're interested in that kind of job environment, or if you prefer, you think you feel more like he's in an informal place, right? Then, be sure that you have a very recent picture, so it's true. It's not just looking at the picture and saying, okay, maybe it's my sister 5 years ago, okay? And eye resolution, so ask one of your friends to take a very good picture of you, okay? Easy, nothing too difficult to do. Natural light, it's important. And your face. Check it on the app, because in some situations, a full picture could be okay, but then when we use it in the app, you will just see a small, very blurry set of images, not the face, right? And please, no crop people. So like me, and then one arm or someone that was just, okay, in my graduation day, most of the times. Okay. And then background and clothing, and LinkedIn data says that smile works best. So if you smile, we are more interested in clicking, and as long as it's a natural smile, right? Nothing like this. A tip, if you're interested in finding a job, so if in this specific moment you're looking for job opportunities, LinkedIn gives you a functionality that is called frames. So if you click on your image, it will open the editor, and one of the frames is open to work with a green badge, okay? Down there. Then, second part, the headline. That goes just after your name and last name, just below your first name and last name. There you have a lot of space to write things, information about you, because you have 220 characters. It's a very long text, okay? There, you need to write what sets you apart. And why not? Look toward the future. Do not stop and say, what I am today. Express what you're looking for, or what you would like to do in the future. And add your keywords there. Why? Do you remember the first screenshot with the smartphone that I showed you at the beginning, with the search for marketing manager? LinkedIn search works looking for keywords, right? So if you use the right keywords in your headline, the opportunity that you show up in the results increases, okay? And it's easy to edit it in the editing mode, let's say, of the LinkedIn profile. And as you can see, LinkedIn is saying, okay, write it with AI. So it's integrating the possibility of having like an assisted writing of the headline. Raise your hand if your headline is something like this. Like student in. Okay. 34 characters. Do you remember how many characters do we have? 220. It's free, so why not? Business and management student focus on environmental sustainability and green economy. Something more, right? Open to internship opportunities, okay? And it's 122, so you have 100 more characters there. Do you practice sports, for example? Why not? Add it. Is there something specific that you want to highlight? Always connect, go back to your goals, and who do you want to get in touch with, okay? So audience and goals, right? Who wants to update the headline? Okay, great. Since you told that you use ChatGPT or Gemini and so on, ask them to help you, okay? Then content means networking. That's the second part. So first of all, improve your LinkedIn profile, starting from a good profile picture and a stunning headline. Then, if it's there, you're just, it's okay, but it's part of the job. The second part is write, publish content. How do social networks work with people publishing content? So content, posts, videos, documents, images are part of how we get in touch with friends, families, and so on. On LinkedIn, it's exactly the same. The more you publish, the highest the opportunity of building new relationships based on common interests, for example, and since it's a social network, it works as a network, highest the opportunities of being performed in people's feeds, so news feeds, right? If you stay there silent, it's half, even if you have an incredibly perfect profile, it's 50% of the job done. The other 50% of a successful LinkedIn presence, let's say, it's how you use content. And again, LinkedIn says, okay, you can start a post, the most common way of using it, upload a video, a photo, or write an article. Articles are a long-form content. And how, the question usually here is, okay, how do we define what to write on LinkedIn? Why do I use LinkedIn? Again, ask generative AI to help you. This is a prompt. And with this prompt that I'm giving to you, so if you want to take pictures, feel free to take pictures. I'm asking, in this case, it's ChatGPT, to help me build an editorial plan for LinkedIn with a set of informations, like I'm a student in, and I want to be specific, what's my degree? In my final year, for example, looking for, so what's my goal? And my interests, the topics. And then I ask, with this prompt, I ask ChatGPT to provide an editorial plan. And this is the result. part of the results because I've asked for 4 weeks, these are 2 weeks, but you can definitely have a lot of good ideas on what to publish. For example, if I say that I'm a student in international marketing, one of the first suggestions from LinkedIn is a post that says why I choose international marketing. Then a university project that defined my approach to branding. Since I wrote that one of my interests was fashion and luxury, another post title is what makes a fashion brand truly sustainable, and so on. Okay, so a huge amount of ideas, inspirations, and things that you can, on and on, publish and start. So, to wrap up, use LinkedIn, the profile, and the content in order to build and communicate what? Your identity, skills, and credibility. Because credibility, it's built with connections and content. Show what you learn, show what you know. Again, before you need it, okay? Great, we have time for questions at the end, but if you have questions for this first part, just raise your hand and I will give space to one question. Okay? Yes, no, we keep questions for the final part. Great. Then, let's change the point of view. The first one was inside out, so it's you on LinkedIn. This one, it's outside in. So how you can use generative artificial intelligence in order to be more effective. For example, when you send a CV or check for opportunities out there. And the first part is prompting. As I told you before, AI is in the tools that we use basically every day, right? Even if we don't know that we are using it. Social media feeds are based on algorithms. So what you see on LinkedIn or what you see on Instagram, TikTok, and so on, it's based on algorithms that define what can be interesting for you. Now we use it, and we know that they are helping us. This is, for example, Google Drive. If you start a new text, they say, okay, I can help you. So help me write, or help me with the meeting notes, and more. These kind of functionalities will be more and more and more integrated with the tools that we use. Emails, for example. Shopping assistants. What's this? Do you know what this tool is? Amazon, right? It's Amazon Shopping Assistant, Rufus, okay? Shopping is evolving at a very rapid speed. And the years where we have to find the right keyword, like change the way that we express what we want. So it's not, I want a new pair of running shoes. That is what we usually would say in a normal shop out there. When we are online, we have to say something like running shoes, okay? Or something that is similar to running shoes, so a very defined keyword. With tools like Rufus or other chatbots, shopping assistants, we will, I don't know if it's go back or express in natural language what we want and what we need. On LinkedIn, LinkedIn says, when I write a post, it said, okay, do you want to rewrite it with AI? Okay. I just want to be super clear here. We are talking about AI commonly. After that November 2022, when we say AI, we say something that is very generic, but be careful because we are talking about generative AI in that case. AI is something that is with us since 1970s. When we use ChatGPT and friends, we are using that part, generative AI, okay? So if you're interested in the field of artificial intelligence, check what's in the bigger picture, okay? So what's generative artificial intelligence? It's a branch of artificial intelligence that enables machines and algorithms to create new and original content. New and original, okay? Based on what? Based on existing examples. The incredible thing here is that they can generate new outcomes, not something that is similar, but something that is new. But based on what? Based on what they've been trained with. And where's the point? Start with a good prompt. For those of you that use artificial intelligence every day, or generative artificial intelligence like ChatGPT and so on, I'm sure that you know what's the difference in the output if you use a good prompt or a poor prompt, right? Okay. Who's happy with the prompting techniques that you're using? So and so, okay? The quality, so first of all, what's a prompt? It's the input, text input or question that you provide to the artificial intelligence model. It contains the instructions or a cue that guides the model towards the response that usually has different formats: text, images, videos, code, audio. An example. Next week, during a career day, this is a prompt that I created, I have a first interview with a company in the sector, blah, 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 okay? I dream working in. If you are an experienced HR manager, so what I'm saying to the large language model in this case is act like an experienced HR manager and help me prepare for the interview in the best possible way. Right? It's like a sparring partner. And this is an example of the prompt. The answer is, okay, I'll keep it simple, and a set of questions for me. Okay. So clarify the context. Can you see the model here? This is ChatGPT 5.1. It's showing me the process. It's not just starting with questions, but since I say, okay, I want you to help me prepare the job interview, the first thing is, okay, these are the steps that I'm going to follow. So clarify the context, then I will help you build your interview kit. What's the interview kit? A 20-second intro, right? Just imagine your career day interview when you sit for the interview. First of all, you present yourself in a very brief way, right? That's the intro to your profile. Examples of common questions. Then, point 3, stress test your answers. And then give a short practice script, okay? And you can use it exactly in this way. If you want to discuss your final thesis, for example, you can ask ChatGPT or another model to act like an experienced professor on that topic, the most experienced in that specific topic, and ask questions, right? And always remember that good prompts give you great results, and poor prompts, it's predictable disappointment, okay? Even though large language models are more and more and more powerful, there's an opportunity there. Because better prompting means better results. So if you know how to prompt in a very effective way, you will have even more value from the tools. A prompt sometimes is 2 pages, right? Why? Because you are so specific and you train the machine to know exactly what you want. Be very specific when you want, for example, to replicate the same task more and more. Not just for, let's say, a one-shot activity, but if you use it for in different moments of the day, or if there's something that you do more than once, spend some time to build a great prompt. And I want to give you some best practices. The first one is clarity, above all. Even if these machines are becoming super intelligent and they learn from the memory of our interactions, if you give a specific request, you will have a better feedback. For example, write a professional but not overly bureaucratic email. If I know that there was something professional but not bureaucratic, write it down. If not, probably you will be disappointed. To apply for an internship in finance and control department of a large multinational company. So give some context, be specific. The email should be brief and to the point. Second best practice, give examples to follow. If you start and have an idea of what you want, definitely give it to the machine. In the prompt, like in the example I've prepared for you here, or for those of you that use ChatGPT, for example, ChatGPT Pro has projects. Projects, it's like the possibility of opening a folder, and you can upload examples of what you want. Reports. Let's say you're writing a report of a project work. If you have an example of the final output, upload it. Okay? And that will make the final result, the output, much better in quality. But let's go through this one. Here's an example of a LinkedIn headline, not summary. In Italian, it's sommario. In English, it's headline. Here's an example of a LinkedIn headline I like. Recent graduate in management with passion for marketing data and analysis, ski instructor, looking for an internship in a company in the sports sector. Write a similar one for me. And then I explain. I have a degree in philosophy, and I'm looking for an internship in an international organization, ideally in HR, okay? So since I know, I have an idea of the final result, I give an example. Better output. Third, best practice, provide context. This is a so-called contextual prompting. These kind of models work with statistics, right? So they're large language models, and they have to give us an answer in the shortest time possible. If you do not give the right context, So if you do not explain enough, what they will do is give you something that is probably okay. So it's more generic. If you give the context, the result would be much better. So who are you? What do you need the answer for? Who will read the content in this example? So contextual prompting means I'm graduating in art history, and I'm preparing my first CV. Context. I would like to work in a museum foundation. Again, more information, more context. The model can be much more specific. Suggest 3 strengths to highlight what would be relevant for an HR manager in a foundation, such as an example of foundation that are recent graduates, okay? I'm giving context here. Then the first best practice, it's break down complex requests. This is called chain of thought prompting. What does it mean? Well, it's exactly the same thing that we do when we want to ask for help, okay, with a friend. If you describe a complex task, help me write my final thesis, too difficult, okay, too difficult. Then some students do it, and it's a problem for the system and for the students mainly. But if you need the machine to complete a complex task, since it's statistically and they want to give you a very quick result, new models have the deep thinking mode, but chain of thought prompting, it's still working. So in this example, if I want ChatGPT to help me with my final thesis, my prompt will never be write me the summary of the thesis. No, it will be something general, too general as a result. I break the task into subtasks. First one is make a list of possible thesis titles on this topic. Okay, so I start with a brainstorming, and I have a set of titles. And then the following task, okay, now help me develop a presentation of the thesis. So if you want great results, break down complex tasks into small tasks, and it's called chain of thought prompting. Another best practice, specify limits or constraints. So if you already know that you want a cover letter that is 100 words, write it in the prompt. If you want a cover letter or just a very short introduction for a LinkedIn message, and you just want it in 30 words, write it in the prompt. So the first result will be the good one. In this example, write a paragraph for my cover letter in which I explain my motivation for starting my internship experience. Use no more than 100 words. Okay, first constraint. In the first person, and avoid generic formulas such as, I'm very motivated to. Okay, this is another best practice. If there is something that you do not want to have in the final result, write it. Do never use these words. Write it down. And then the second part, before you begin, ask me all the questions you need to make the text effective and personalized. Okay? So usually, large language models, they do not ask for questions, right? That's very different from human beings. If I tell you, okay, why don't you write me a cover letter? You say, why do you want a cover letter? Who's receiving the cover letter? Okay, they do not ask questions, usually. So it's important to tell them, ask me questions if you need to know something more for a good result. And then the sixth and final best practice, that is always, always, always double check the result. Always double check, okay? Bibliographies with invented texts, not new. Profiles with experiences that are not real, not you, and so on. So this is a best practice, not just for a good prompt, but in this case, hallucinations exist. So sometimes they still invent things. Invent means that that author that is mentioned with a great title for the book, probably sometimes, not, it's happening less and less and less and less, but double check, always double check. Who uses Google? Okay. Have you seen the AI mode in results? Okay. It's like a mashup of a certain set, not just the first results, but a set of specific results. Double check, double check, double check. Because it's not just chunks of texts from the different articles or contents that Google finds. It's a remake. And sometimes in the remake, informations are not correct. So again, double check. They are large language models, so they work statistically. They are not savvy. They are super quick in mixing things. So they do not, what do you study, if I may ask you? Yeah. Art management, great. No large language model is super expert in art management, no. But they are super quick in mixing knowledge and giving new and original results. But they do not know what they are saying, okay? They are not a super skilled professor in art management that knows if what he's saying is right or not. So always check. And at the end of the day, we are responsible for what we publish, what we send, what we write in our presentations, emails, CVs, LinkedIn profiles, and so on. So you are responsible for what you say and do and don't do, and not ChatGPT. And this is definitely what will shape successful and happy citizens in the future, and people that will say, okay, I've read it on ChatGPT. ChatGPT told it. Okay, there's a small but very significant point there. It's always you, with your skills, your culture, and your ethics, that you have to decide what's okay and what's not, right? Technology, it's technology, and it's more and more important and more inside everything that we do. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as human beings to use it and not be used, okay? So the answer, ChatGPT told it, it's not the final one, okay? Yes. Who is writing the final dissertation thesis? Okay. More or less. Great. Do you use ChatGPT and Friends?
Yeah, to give examples of authors.
Bibliographies, okay. And is it working, or sometimes is it like?
I don't think it's good at writing, like good academics. It's more like giving ideas and suggestions. And like
Okay. Okay, probably, Notebook LM, it works better. Claude for texts. Yeah, and then the point is giving training. If you upload training in projects, it learns, if not, so and so. But yes, then, when I teach at the university, I force my students to use large language models, but to use them, not to copy past results with poor prompts. So skills are learning how to prompt, learning how to improve the results that the machine gives. And I mean, for education in general, not just for university or higher education, again, there's a huge shift happening. But as for what we can share today, what I can share with you today, the point is not using it or not using it. It's not good or bad in this sense. It's something that you have to learn how to use it, and at the same time, you are responsible for what you're sending to your professor or to, I mean, depending on the interaction, the persons you are interacting with. Okay, some tools for you. For text analysis, for example, for image generation, for videos and avatars. Video is the new frontier. New, why? Because it's much more difficult than images and more difficult than text to create a good video. But the new models, again, are really stunning. And for some videos, you can definitely say if it's AI generated or not. This opens to a lot of, let's say, social problems, but gives you the possibility. Do you remember when I told you augment what you can do? If you're not a graphic designer, how can you make a wonderful infographic for that great essay that you are writing? Now you can, okay? If you're not a video maker, how can you present something that you are studying in your art management course? With large language models now, you can present with a video. So it's learning how to do better what you already do and augment. So think what you can do now that it was not possible yesterday or 1 month ago or 6 months ago. With that mindset, I think it's, I mean, the future is brilliant, okay? Then I want to give you some links for training. So for those of you that want to go deeper, 3 different levels. The first one is AI Essentials from Google. Then OpenAI launched an academy with a huge amount of video, training documents, and so on. The last one is from Microsoft Learning Hub. This is pretty technical, but for those of you that want to go deeper on how a large language model works behind the scenes, there's good value there, okay? And then the Venice lessons, that is a format that I launched some years ago. And in September, I launched the new season. There are videos in Venice, so in gondola in this case, and I have 2 guests. One is a professor from marketing and management at Ca' Foscari University. You can ask AI to translate them for you, Okay? So even if, it's in Italian, doesn't matter. You can ask AI for the translation. And yes, there are 6 videos on different topics of artificial intelligence in marketing mainly, but there are also agents, automation, so more technical content. And what else? Thank you. That's all. Thanks. Super. If you have questions, please raise your hand or your voice, or yes, basically, we have 2 possibilities, hands or voice. Please, wait for the mic.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
It was very inspiring. And I have a question about about LinkedIn. The thing for me make me feel like it's hard to use LinkedIn is because even though I want to create my profile, and moreover, I also need to create content regularly. And regarding its professional tool to promote myself to build my career, I feel like it's kind of hard to write which contents or what kind of things I need to write to make me look like very professional and ready to work. So, and the second question is, I wonder if you are writing your contents in English or Italian.
Okay.
Because to make algorithm work more, is it better to write in English or my original language?
Okay, great. Thanks for your questions. I'll start from the second one, English or Italian. Go back to who's your audience, okay? So who's your audience? In my case, my audience is 90% Italian, because my customers are Italian companies or international companies, but they are interested in Italian consultancy. So my profile, it's first version Italian, second version English. We don't have the time to go through whole LinkedIn functionalities today, but LinkedIn gives you the possibility of writing a second version of your profile in another language. So check, and there's a possibility of writing your profile in more than one language. As for content, you have to decide. Who's your audience? Is it mainly Italian or international? If it's international, go for English. Again, probably in some, even though if you want to work in Italy, let's say, with Italian companies or in an Italian environment, some business environments use English. Very technical ones, those that are natively international. So probably, if you use English, it will work for your local relationships and for international opportunities. But the answer is check your audience and start from your goals. And the first one, that was a difficult one, it's probably, how do I decide, right? Because if it's the second part, how do I write, it's start writing and ask AI to help you. First, you have, at the beginning, train your ability to find ideas. Do not just delegate. Do not just say, okay, please give me 5 ideas and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, I like it. No, use your brain. At this part, it's the difference. This will make the difference in the coming years. So first, check for topics, and then ask AI to help you increase the final product, image or video or text. If you don't know where to start with, it's check for course mates and someone that is already doing it, and find inspiration. You could use LinkedIn for 1 month and with the goal of finding inspirations, finding examples of someone that is in a similar situation. And what do they do? Okay. Great, thank you. Please. Okay, so you decide. Okay. Great, we have a question from the webinar. So can you please open the mic?
Hello, it's me. Do you hear me?
Yeah, more or less. Hi.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
I'm sorry, I'm on Erasmus and I have bad connection. So I wanted to ask, when posting on LinkedIn, is it very important, the timeliness? Like how punctual you are, or if you post content about things that happened weeks ago, does that impact?
Okay. Ariana, I try to repeat, so I want to check if, since the connection is not so good, your question is timing for LinkedIn posts. Where do I start from? It's important, but not as important as in other social networks like Instagram, for example. Okay? LinkedIn has a longer memory. If you post on LinkedIn and the post is successful, that means gets received reactions, comments, it's shared, LinkedIn will deliver it for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Okay, so it's a generous algorithm in this sense. Then, yes, the other part is there a good time for posting? It's not a perfect time. There's not just one perfect time. Consider your audience and post when your audience is online. So if you have a business community, use business hours. For the academic community, check when your audience is online. And then the other best practice is push your post when you publish it. What does it mean? When you publish a new post, send it through WhatsApp, for example, to your friends, to your classmates, to someone that can give the first interactions, because those are signals to the algorithm that says, okay, this post is good. Let's see if I can improve the distribution, showing it to more people, right? So the first signals are important. And the other part, Arianna, probably was on, if I'm posting something that happened 2 weeks ago, is it okay or not? If you can open the mic and just tell me if the question was exactly this one or no.
Yes, exactly. That was what I was asking.
Okay, great. It's a narrative, right? So let's say you are taking pictures of this meeting, webinar, seminar today, but then you don't have time to publish it. Or you don't have the right words and things like that. In a couple of weeks, you say, okay, I was in Ca' Foscari 2 weeks ago, but maybe it's too old as a content. Find a different way of telling the same message. Do not start with 2 weeks ago, I was at Ca' Foscari. No. You could start in another way and telling something like, this morning, I read this news. OpenAI did this and that. Or in arts and culture, a research says that artificial intelligence is changing this and that. 2 weeks ago, I was at the EUTOPIA week in Venice, and I attended, blah, 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 okay? So it's not too old. It's just that you give the right frame, and you can use it. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Arianna.
I'm sorry to announce that we have just time for one last question, so I'm
Okay,
giving
so
you the mic now.
Try to be...
Yes.
Thank you.
Please.
Okay, thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you.
But I would just like to point out that I find your lack of criticism towards AI a bit disconcerting, because not only do we see in young people, elementary school level, the lack of kind of foundational skills that students need to have to be able to study independently. You also have massive environmental damage from big, huge data centers that are being built for AI. You also have generative AI that, I don't know, creates images or videos that steals work from people because it's just available on, I don't know, Pinterest or Google or Bing. So I was just missing a bit about that, if you have a bit to tell about
definitely. And again, I was in this same room 1 week ago, and the topic was artificial intelligence. I was with a colleague, and what I told him is, I'm always super happy to come to universities and share content on artificial intelligence and in general on many different topics, because I love the criticism part, the ethics part, that in companies, it's not so common to find. Okay, so thanks for your question. We are in front of a huge social, what I'm saying is huge social, I don't know how to call it definitely, because it's not just the negative part. It's not just the positive part, but what I was saying before, as citizens, what we have to do is use our brain, okay? Our culture, our brain. As a citizen, what I see and why I'm sharing my knowledge in contexts like this is that we can use technology in a good way, but we are in front of incredible monopolies, an extractive economy. That's why my point is always use your judgment. Then I know that there are different positions, different ethics, and some people do not use social media because they are against social media business models, for example, and I respect it. Some people do not use artificial intelligence or in a very slow rate because environmental impact is not on their agendas, right? So be critic. My personal position as a citizen is share what I know and share it not with like super hype, everything is great, go, 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 but with this is what is happening. No chance you have to know it. No chance you have to adapt in some way. And then based on your ethics, political choices, be against or be for, but there's no possibility of saying, okay, 2 steps back. It might happen, it's super dystopic, okay? So if you want to read something that is connected with this, read The Every from Dave Eggers. It's a novel, Dave Eggers, and The Every is before artificial intelligence, it's more connected with social media, but definitely it's something that might happen. A group, spoiler, small spoiler, a group of people leaves the city and goes to a specific area with no internet connection, no technology, no face, no image recognition, and so on. Okay, thank you. No time for more questions. If you have more questions in the presentation, you have my LinkedIn again. Just send me a short message that we've met today and so on, or drop me an email and I'll be more than happy to answer to your questions. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Miriam, and thank you to you all. And we're going to see you in the next Utopia events, I guess. And yeah, have a nice day, and thank you again.